Why take profits or have stop loss at 50% in the Iron Condor strategy? Would one be worse off if you just held to expiration every time? Okay, so common question, super common question. Iron Condors, I like to do 50% stop loss and stop gain. There's a couple of reasons for this, and we have an Iron Condor on right now, so we can just use our live trade. Okay, so let's assume, because I typically open Iron Condors 45 to 75 days to expiration, right? That's the target. Of course, I like 60. The reason I say 45 to 75 is 60 is my ideal. But of course, you can never pick your dates, right? You just go with whatever option strings they give you. Up 15, minus 15, it makes sense to say 45 to 75. But let's just say a 60-day trade. What ends up happening with Iron Condors is, first of all, you can lose a lot more than you can make, right? That is very typically the case. Now, you can squeeze everything in and you can make it so it's a symmetrical trade, but then the probability is much lower of success. So a typical Iron Condor, you're going to lose more than you make if you let them go to expiration. You'd have to have 3-ish wins per 1 loss if you do that. So that's kind of a problem. I use 50% stop losses, which means currently I got right around $1.20 for this trade in premium, bringing in as a credit. That means my stop gain is at 60 cents. When this hits 60 cents, I get out of the trade. If it goes up by 60 cents to $1.80, that's my stop loss, and I take the profit, or I take the loss and I get out of the trade. So essentially, even though it's a totally lopsided trade at expiration, the daily pink line is 50-50 for me. So I basically, minus trade fees, I only need to get more winners than losers. So that's the first reason that I do like to use the 50% stops. It makes more sense. The other reason, though, is that Iron Condors are short Vega trades. So sometimes, and we only open Iron Condors during mid to high volatility. Low volatility, we don't open them. So these are the types of trades that we are short volatility when volatility is elevated, which means my 60-day trade can probably get its 50% stop loss much quicker than 30 days. So if I get my 50% out of the trade in 20 days, that means I can open a new trade. Full power, 60 days in the future, mid to high volatility, and do it again. And you can churn more trades that way. So even though the potential profit at expiration is higher, if you think about what is actually going to happen in practice, you're going to be churning a much higher percentage of trades if you take the stops. Why wait 60 days to get the other half of your profit? Why wait 40 more days when you can get half of it in 20 days, right? It's more efficient use of capital to get out of the trades at half. And the third reason is what we would call dancing on the gamma knife edge. So gamma is a second order option Greek, basically first order Greek to delta. Basically, it represents how sensitive the option is to price changes in the underlying. And the closer you go to expiration, the higher your gamma is going to be. So what ends up happening is Iron Condor 60 days out, let's say the stock market crashes 5% because of, a contested election, limit down. That Iron Condor is going to suffer, obviously, but it's not going to be the end of the world because there's 60 days to go. But if that same situation happened with 10 days to go, that could go completely blast right through your stop losses or whatever you wanted. You could be a dead center, looking like a profitable trade, and it goes to near max loss because you've only got 5 or 10 days to go. Gamma is super high at that point, and you're very susceptible to market movements. So it just makes sense to, whenever you're trading like a high probability trade, like a short Iron Condor, you absolutely want to get out of those trades as fast as you can. Now, there is a limit, right? Because your next follow-up question would be, well, okay, 50, that I understand your reasons there, but why not 25? Why not get out really fast? Well, the reason there is, and I've tested all of this thoroughly, the reason there is if you're getting out at 25, the market actually does move around a little bit, right? Iron Condors don't pin here and just stay there for 20 days and get your money. You have to allow them to be up and down a little bit of money. And if you set your stops at 25%, this is too much. What ends up happening is you just get a long string of very quickly stopped out trades because the market moves. An Iron Condor will probably move 25%, like half the time. It's going to happen quite often. So you don't want to wait too long, but you also don't want to be too short. So I've tested 20, 40, 50, 75, let them go to expiration. I've tested them all. 50%, that's the number. And of course, in the VTS community, there is a 31, I think, video mega course for iron condors. It's just included at VTS. And one of the lessons in there breaks everything I just said down probably far better than I just did it.